I'm David Marsh. Welcome to Exploring the Human Journey.
Exploring the Human Journey.
I've been working with relationships and helping people out. I do relationships different than anybody that I know of. I sort of insist that I see people individually first before I work on a relationship, because my idea is get two people healthy, you got a better chance at a relationship. The longer I treated people, the more I realized that there are a couple things that happen. The single most important one is communication. Everybody comes to me and they say, well, I tell her what I want and she tells me what she wants. Good, you both are saying what you want, but nobody's listening. I came up with an idea and I'm working on it now. I'm working on a book called 5 Easy Steps of a Healthy Selfish Relationship. And what it does is it teaches people how to put themselves first so that they can demand what it is that they are supposed to get inside a relationship by placing value in their partners. So you really understand who your partner is, you really value them, and then you say to yourself, good, what do I need to do to keep them? How am I not going to risk losing this person? And how are they supposed to take care of me? There's a step. There's 5 easy steps to do this. And then after that, we talk about partnership. We talk about how do you become partners? How do you and whoever it is that you're with approach life? And it's entirely about loving yourself. Because if you don't get what you need, you cheat everybody. You want to know that both people are being honest in a situation. You want to know that both people are connected to one another and they feel that connection so that you're not risking losing the relationship. You don't want to be in a situation where anything that you do could possibly make you lose something that you want. I think that what we're trying to do is come together on an energetic level.
Awesome. Ray, thanks for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, it's good. I appreciate it. Now, what I loved is you told me about being a universal channel, getting information when you're creating and authoring material. You also shared with me your ability to communicate and not being able to read for a long part of your life.
Sure.
Share with our listeners and the viewers kind of that process you went through.
Well, we were just talking about the idea that I think that my inability to read was actually important in my ability to be a universal channel.
Yeah.
Not being able to read eliminated the reading that people do, they have all that fluff, they have all that information.
So a lot of times people write a book based on somebody else wrote a book and they just gathered information.
Sure.
Okay, I get it.
Well, what I figured out is that whenever somebody comes to you, whenever somebody is privy to whatever information you have, they actually pick up a very, very small amount of important information, and the rest of it is just fluff. So I'm in that situation right now where what I'm doing is being able to give concise amounts of information, and I don't have the fluff. So
you feel like you've gotten it right from source.
Absolutely. I have fought with that over the years, trying to figure out what my purpose is and what I do. I've gotten tremendous amounts of information and very interesting stuff. People that I've talked with over the years will tell me that they've never heard a lot of the things that I have. Like I have a Big Bang Theory that is completely mine, but it's mine as a translation of what I get from the universe. It's not mine because I'm not smart enough myself to think about these things. Oh,
absolutely. You're not, Ray. No, I'm teasing.
No, it's actually, cat's out of the bag. Okay. But I'm really not. But what I have to do is I have to translate what I get from the universe, and that's my job. I have to stay out of the way when the information is coming in, and then I've got to be able to translate it to get it out there.
That's finding that connection.
And it has gotten better. you know. I've given up the idea of thinking that it's me, and I recognize that I have a purpose in this, in that I just need to, when it's happening, I need to step back, I need to let it happen, and then translate. Okay.
Now, when you go into a space where you're channeling, you're getting information, are you in meditation? Are you driving your car? Are you sitting in an office?
It happens whenever it wants to.
Yeah. So you could be in a conversation, or you could be sitting around watching TV or whatever, and you get information.
Yeah. Okay. So let me.
Yeah.
So let me tell you. Okay. So you've been in my office.
Yeah.
Okay. So people come to me and they want to find out about their relationships, and they're talking about their relationships, and all of a sudden, this has happened a lot. All of a sudden, I'm on the ground drawing out their relationship on the ground.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, so let's see here. You guys met at this point here, but you bring in this situation here, and then your mother's up here, and then this thing, and I'm laying it all out on the ground, and I look up at them, and they're looking at me like, like, holy, am I supposed to leave now? Are we, frightened? And I reassure them. I say, look, I'm not going to hurt you.
So you go into like just Rain Man, where you're like putting the pieces together.
And it's just, or it's either that, or else I'm finding that I say things to people that I have no idea. I had a girl come to me, and she shows up. And it's not only relationships, but I mean, people will come to me for all kinds of things. And so this girl shows up and she says, before we get started, I wanted to know can I ask you a couple of questions? I said, sure. She said, well, I really wanted to see a woman. She goes, and I was just drawn to you. Okay. I said, not a problem. I said, I'm as close to a woman as you can get. So she says, do you have any problem with female issues? And I thought right away that maybe she was gay or something like that. And I'm thinking, well, I'm a lesbian and my mother's a lesbian, and I'll tell you about that later on. Yes. But anyway, I said, no, I have, there's nothing that you're going to surprise me with. And she
Do you know who I am? I'm Raymond Kopakowski. You're not going to freak me out.
Well, you really, read up about me.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So she says, no, I meant about female issues. And I said, I looked at her and I said, how long have you had a yeast infection?
Oh, wow.
And she went, it shocked her. It shocked me too. And she said, on and off about 10 years, I can't get rid of it. And so I said, we talked a little bit, and I said to her, listen, I want to ask you a question. And the question's going to be a very strange question. It's going to be put in a really weird way, but trust me, are you okay with that? And she said, yeah, I'm okay with that. And at that point, right there, me and her had something in common, because neither one of us had a clue of what I was going to ask. Wow. I mean, I was sitting back and I said to myself, this better be good.
This better be good.
Oh, this better be good. I don't know what's coming out. And the question was, when you were a little girl, what did your mother call the space between your legs?
Wow.
And she said, well, nothing really. I said, teenager, what did you call the space between your legs? And she said, never really referred it to anything. And so I said, you're 30-some years old. What do you call it? She said, well, I don't know, my VJJ. And I thought, okay, so you watch Oprah, good girl.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go home, and I want you to lay in bed naked and start at your toes and say, these are my toes, this is my foot, this is my ankle, this is my calf, this is my thigh, go all the way up, and this is my hips, this is my vagina, this is my stomach, these are my breasts, and everything. And don't put any emphasis on anything. And I said, I want you to do that several times. I said, and remember, nothing in your body is any more important than anything else. She said, okay. She called me up 3 days later and she said, I can't believe it. I'm I'm clean. Everything is gone. I said, and the idea was that your subconscious heals you. And if it doesn't know that you have a body part, if it doesn't recognize that you have a body part, then it can't heal it. So you have to recognize that, but actually that was the beginning part of it, because it actually was much deeper. The reason that she couldn't recognize that body part went into something entirely different. But at least we got that taken care of, so that we could move to the next stage.
Yeah.
And I saw her for a while and stuff. And
so you're tapping into that universal consciousness. You're getting information and you're helping.
And none of it was anything that I came up with.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing about touching your body and all that stuff entirely.
So that wasn't some modality that you'd practiced before?
No, that was, I was sitting there, and that's what's been helping me out, is that the more that I do those things, the more I recognize that I'm sitting back going, okay, what's next? What's actually happening here?
Beautiful.
And it makes it more powerful when I realize that I'm not in control, and I'm trying not to be in control. That makes it more powerful and gives me more of a job to try and get it out there right, which if I'm not right, it'll come back. It'll tell me, wait a second, that's not what we want.
So if you're misspeaking, you can feel that. You're like, ooh, I need to correct something.
Yeah, and it'll come up, or the image will keep flashing in my mind and or out here, wherever I'm seeing it. That'll continue to happen to me after I think I'm done, and then I'll keep seeing it. And I relate that to negativity, to things that happen in people's lives. When something bad happens, it's a negative thing. And if you don't learn from it, learn all your lessons, it'll keep happening to you. And so that's the way I see, that channeling that I do.
Oh, that's beautiful. I like that connection that you maintain. What's neat about you is that the times I've met you and we've interacted, you're always in a positive, kind of happy mindset, mood, if you will. And you feel real positive. How do you put yourself in that space where you don't let things that you necessarily don't want to have happen not affect you? How do you stay in that happy, positive?
I have a mantra.
Yeah. What is it?
My mantra is, I have no idea what's going on, but I know I'll be okay. That's my mantra. So it's like, and all the work that I've done with people tells me that it's the negative things, those are the learning parts. So I want those. If it's going to be bad, I want to find out why it's bad. I want to know what to do about it. I want to change it, and I want to learn from it. So I welcome it. I don't feel bad about life, whatever it presents me, because I know that that's the only place I'm going to learn. And then when I learn it, then I have more things to give to the people I'm working with.
Yeah. Say that mantra one more time. That is awesome.
It is, I have absolutely no idea of what's going on, but I know I'll be okay.
Oh, awesome. Episode's over. Thanks for tuning in. We're good.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
So good, Ray. Because a lot of my life was framed with a fear-based construct that if you didn't get it right, something bad would happen. And so I had to know and prepare and plan and make sure I got it right. That is so freeing and liberating when you're like, I have no idea what's going to happen, what this thing is about, but I know that I don't have to have anxiety about it because I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, and then you're going to learn from it. So, in my practice, a lot of what I try to tell people is, listen, if this happened to you, and it's bad enough that you end up coming to see somebody like me, then when you're done here, I want you to say, it was worth it. I want you to say, boy, I'm glad he cheated on me.
Sure.
Because we would have never gotten this kind of close if that didn't happen.
Yeah.
We had no idea what our relationship was like until something so drastic happened that we had to really work and commit ourselves to getting better.
Yeah.
So it's all a blessing.
Relationship coaching is awesome. You do so much. You do such good work in that arena. And share with me, what are the types of issues that people come to you for? What is it that they're working through?
Okay. So I started off doing hypnosis, okay? And I was helping people in relationships with hypnosis. And then I started to realize that the hypnosis was taking away some of the lessons. So I became really leery about when I hypnotized somebody. So I left that aside and I started working. My idea was to be different. I wanted to listen to people. I wanted to examine their issues. I wanted to figure out why they are bringing such and such to an issue and all that stuff, and treat everybody absolutely individually. Okay, I wanted to give them that. And that was my purpose. After a period of time of doing it that way, I kept coming up with, wait a second, every single time, the problem is the root of the relationship. It wasn't the issue. It was never the issue. It was always about how are people treating each other concerning the issue. So, and then I started to see this. I started to see things like, and I see this with almost every client that comes in. On my back wall, I see, like I'm watching television, like I'm watching a movie, and I see their issue. Okay? And then I see the two of them peeled away from the wall, looking at each other, saying, okay, so what do we do about that issue? Okay? So when they learn how to do that, the next issue, they do the same thing. And then the next issue comes in. So the issues are never important. It's always about how do we treat each other? How do we become partners and care about one another in an attempt to deal with life and these issues? That makes sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is one of the things that came up as far as developing the 5 easy steps of a healthy selfish relationship.
Yep. I love that you say healthy selfish relationship, because if you're not okay on the inside, how are you going to help this relationship that you're trying to co-create?
Well, I started out doing a thing when I was writing. I'm on Thumbtack. It's a place where people can go and find relationship counselors. And I used to write, I look at relationships like somebody who has a bike that was in a crash. If the forks are bent, you have two forks. If the forks are bent and you try to put the wheel on, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to fix the right fork, you have to fix the left fork, and then you can put the wheel on. And so I wanted to do that with relationships and fixing both people, getting them as healthy as possible, and then putting the tire on. Then it grew, it got bigger. Then it was like, well, wait a second, so we're doing this. Why is it that you would want to fix the fork with somebody? Who are you with? And then I started to develop the different areas of the 5 steps. The 5 steps are interesting because every bit of the 5 steps is channeled. But the construction of the book is me, and it's taking forever.
Well, I love how you gave presence to that. You're using your phone, using your technology to speak into it, and I am assuming that's helping you overcome a reading and writing challenge that you've had.
Sure, and I'm lazy too.
Well, there you go. Well, you use the tools available to you.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So you've got some steps that you come through. Can you share steps with us, or how?
Sure. What I started to recognize was when people would come to me, especially with infidelity. Infidelity is a huge learning curve for people. It's great. I'm sorry.
Infidelity is awesome. Man, let me tell you.
Nothing like a good fling. Okay. But for learning, it's like, people come and they're destroyed. They're absolutely destroyed. And I'll sit there and usually somebody comes in, the person who cheated says, well, I promise I'll never do that again. And my thing is, well, why? Why wouldn't you? Well, because it hurt my partner. Well, good, but you didn't care before. Why are you going to care now? And I'm trying to get them to understand that The important thing is not wanting to hurt the other person, but why you did it. You know, did you not care enough about the relationship that it was okay for you to go cheat? Is that why? And if you didn't care enough about the relationship, do you not care enough about yourself to care about something that you want, to protect something that you want?
Yeah.
So step one is, what do I bring to a relationship? So in my situation, you know, what I bring is somebody that is connected to the universe. I'm highly intelligent. I'm a sweetheart. I'm dedicated. I'm all these things, and I have great hair. So
Indeed.
Get that in there. I mean, it's dumb to grow hair like this without appreciating it. So
Awesome.
Yeah. So the first part about it is, what do I bring to a relationship? What am I offering? And then you have to look at the other person and decide whether that other person appreciates what it is that you bring. Because if they don't, there's no reason to go any further.
Makes sense.
All right, so I've got all my stuff, and I understand that. Now I don't have to worry about why a person's with me, because I know what I'm bringing, okay? I also have to know the negative parts of me. I have to know, you know, like with me, my past is horrendous. I mean, I get a crazy, crazy past. So somebody that would be afraid of that kind of stuff is not going to make it with me. You know, they're going to be worried about things unless I can do something about it. They have to accept who I am.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first thing. And then the second step is, do I like the person that I'm thinking about being in a relationship with?
That's important.
Yeah, you would think
Am
so.
I tolerating this person, or do I enjoy being with this person?
Well, the problem is that for a good period of time, you never really get to see who that person is. You know, people, they like each other, they think you're cute, you know, they hang out a little bit, they have some sex, everything is wonderful, everybody is...
But you're not farting in front of them, right? You're not going to let them know how real you are.
Right, and they're presenting something really good, and then something happens, a negative thing happens, and that's where you can start to build a relationship. On the first negative thing, usually what happens with people is that they get all upset and they cry and they talk about the issue, but they don't do anything about the cause of the issue. They let it pass and they become okay. They go back at it, and then they're okay. And then somewhere a second issue happens, and a third issue happens. The issues and the communication between the two of them never happens. They just get over it. Okay,
but they never dealt with it.
Yeah, they never dealt with it. They never dealt with the feelings, and you know, a lot of times, you know, people will feel terribly insecure, or maybe you'll do something bad and it'll make them, it will remind them of a feeling they have about themselves, and they'll say, okay, this person is telling me that I'm a piece of crap too, you know, and so there's all that
goes
has
back to the story that we've told ourselves.
Yeah. So you need to spend a little bit of time, unfortunately. You have to spend a little bit of time to start to find out who this person is. And when you find out, you know, who this person is, Janet is 23 years with Janet. She's gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful woman. She's very smart. She's very dedicated. She is, I mean, she's got a tremendous heart. She's a Reiki master. She's great with her kids. All these things are what the second step is about, because I look at all those things and I place a value to Janet. I go, okay, so I really like her. I really want to be in a relationship with her. Step 3 is, what do I have to do that? You know, so I have got to focus on Janet and make sure that Janet has everything that she needs. You know, I want to make sure that she's happy, that she feels like I listen to her, she's secure in our relationship, that I don't care if she does something, you know, she needs to do something that I don't agree with, then I'm going to help her do it. And I'm not going to say, if it falls apart, I'm not going to say, I told you so. I'm going to say, hey, you know, okay, so how do we move from here? Because I want this relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to do anything to risk losing the relationship that means a lot to me. If I'm committed to this relationship, I'm going to do everything that I can possibly do
So you're like
to make
supporting
sure
that.
I keep it.
Yeah.
And that's where the selfish part of it comes in. In a weird way, I'm really happy that what I do has a great effect on Janet. But as far as the 5 easy steps, that almost doesn't matter. It's like I'm doing this for me. I'm being selfish. I want Janet. So what do I have to do to keep Janet? I got to make sure she's happy. I got to make sure she feels loved. And if she does all that kind of stuff, if I do everything that I need to do in the relationship, I can trust Janet won't go out, because I've taken care of it all. If I don't do any of that kind of stuff, if I don't make sure that I take care of Janet, she may go someplace else. If I miss something she needs, if I'm not there, if I'm not attentive, she would go out and find somebody else, and then I lose. Okay? So it's always about me. I need to get what I want.
How do you contextualize the relationships between people that have an open relationship?
Okay, if somebody has an open relationship, it depends on what stage they're at when they come to me. I get people all the time that want to be in an open relationship, and then it bites them in the ass. It backfires on them. I say back off, get close, and then revisit it. I don't have any problem with people having open relationships at all, but not if it's going to risk the relationship. So make sure that the relationship is really, really tight, and then you can do anything you want. But I did something recently. I had a couple come in, and I tried to explain the thought process in a happy relationship, a happy selfish relationship versus a not happy, a normal relationship.
Miserable.
A normal relationship. Okay, so the guy says, so what I need to do is I need to make sure that she gets everything she needs. I got to listen to her. I got to make sure she's okay and she's happy and all that kind of stuff. And then I get to do what I want to do. Okay, all right. And then the other way of doing that is, oh, wait a second. So if I take care of her, if I listen to her and I make her feel that I care about her, that I love her, that I'm truthfully there for her and all that kind of stuff, then I get to do everything that I want to do. Okay. But the difference is that one of them, if you do it, if you're in a negatively selfish relationship, it's always going to bite you. Because she's going to figure it out, or he's going to figure it out that you're just trying to shut them up.
Now it's obligation, and which turns into resentment.
Right. So I think that a lot of what I see, a lot of what gets shown to me is the human condition getting ready to take another step. A lot of people talk about ascension. A lot of people talk about advancement. I talk about pulling back because I don't think that the way we started was healthy. I think that we started with, humanity started with a tremendous amount of fear, and everything that we did was fear-based. So I'm thinking that, like things with the healthy selfish relationship, it's not a step forward. It's a return. It's a return to a base value of my life and what do I want and what am I willing to do to commit to get what it is that I want and what I need. And the idea about ending up with a partner in this deal is like the coolest thing ever.
That's beautiful.
Because if I'm in a relationship and she's not my partner, what the hell's the sense in that? What are you doing? And people do that all the time. People don't understand about it. It's almost like it's a business to be in a healthy relationship.
So you're moving through, you're taking care of your partner's needs, which in return helps meet your needs. So then what are the next steps?
Okay, well, you need to have, in the partnership part of this thing, you need to make sure that your partner is doing the same thing to you. If I'm going to be focused on her, she's got to be focused on me. Somebody's got to be watching out for me.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's an uncomfortable situation, I would imagine. If you're focusing on your partner and your partner is focusing on someone else, that doesn't form a mutually beneficial relationship.
Right, but that's where the selfish part comes in, because you're aware of what your partner's doing. You're watching to make sure that your partner is as committed to you as you are to them, because that's the basis of this is it's all about me. So
but yet you have to have that liberty and freedom to let your partner be their own individual self.
Absolutely.
Without being creeper person where you're always looking at their phone, see who you texting, what, because then that's that controlling fear thing. So how do you put that in the space of love and freedom?
Well, I mean, it has to be changed over. It has to be, everybody has got to know that if I'm healthy in myself, that my happiness does not depend upon you taking care of me.
Boom, right there.
Okay? Yeah. So if you're not going to be there for me, then I'm not going to be there for you. That would be the end. If you say to me, I don't want to play this game with you and I'm not going to care about you, then you're gone. There's nothing there. If you say, I really do care about you, but I don't know how to do this, fine. We'll learn and we'll get closer. I can work with that. There's a couple things. As long as a person is trying, then I'm going to hang in there with them.
Well, that key is so important, though. If I need my partner to validate that I'm important, that I'm loved, then that puts me in this codependent space. But if I have that feeling of being loved already, I don't need my partner to validate me. Now we can co-empower one another and co-create rather than she has to complete me,
Absolutely. Well, people think about it. People are always talking about, this person completes me. This is my soulmate and all that kind of stuff. My soulmate. Well, let's think about that. Okay. There's what, 7 billion people on the planet, and you just happen to be in that city at that time, finding that one person that's your soulmate. Cool. Okay. Good for you. Good hunting.
Good hunting.
So, because it can work with anybody, it really can. The 5 steps is not only about relationships, love relationships. It applies to everything in your life, every area. It's your work. It's, just being out in the street with people. How do I get the most out of every situation that I'm in a loving fashion? Because if I'm not loving when I'm trying to do that, it ain't going to work.
No.
I'm going to get caught.
No, I love that. So you're meeting your need. You're finding that space where you're comfortable. You're meeting the needs of your beloved. Then how does that move forward?
Okay, so you basically want to deal with the whole situation as a partnership, and it's actually I'm hoping I'm going to answer your question here. It's actually me and you, we're partners, and so as I'm focusing on you, I'm watching to make sure that we understand that it's me and you dealing with life, dealing with these issues, dealing with our children, dealing with our parents, whatever it is, it's me and you first. There's nothing comes in between me and Janet. Everything else is second. Okay, so when you're developing that and getting closer to each other, you're also, you're like becoming one, and I think that's, you talk about fear of intimacy, and boy, I'll tell you what, that'll shake you. It'll really put it to you, trying to be close to a person to that level. The nice part about it is that there's things that I am insecure about. Okay. Janet is not insecure about my stuff. Okay.
Oh,
So if
yeah.
I'm presenting, like I'm coming here to talk today, and if I've got some insecurities, Janet is aware of those insecurities. So she's got, her job in this partnership to keep the partnership healthy is to be able to remind me of my insecurities and tell me, what I can do about it and all that stuff. She's my partner. She has a responsibility in the relationship to make sure that the relationship is healthy for her. Okay. So it's like when I'm in a partnership with somebody and I'm watching them, to make sure that they're committed to the partnership, that they're acting in best interest of the partnership and all that stuff. That's really nice. But I want to see them, excuse me, I want to see them working on my side too. If they're cautiously optimistic, maybe, of the other person's actions, I want them to be looking at me and what I'm doing, making sure that I'm on track, making sure that I'm committed. If she's concerned about me being fully connected in the relationship like I am, then we're okay.
It's good.
I don't think I answered your question. Or I don't know where the hell I went.
Well, that's really good because Sweet Lady Gail and I have really been working on getting away from a codependency where my challenge has been to go into a victimhood of poor me, or this bothers me, or, something happened to me and I feel like a victim. And then her tendency has been, well, let me rescue you. Let me help you. Let me validate you. And which then makes our relationship the challenger. And instead of that energy, we learned about the co-empowerment energy where she'll listen to me. She'll say, okay, I hear what you're saying. Now she'll challenge me and say, let's find another way to frame this. And then she'll support me in that. And then and vice versa, I can do that with her. And so we are working on being complete and being whole in and of ourselves, so that when we come together, you have two whole people creating a whole if you will.
That's great.
And that's been the work that we've been working in our relationship, not being controlling, not having that fear-based energy. It's really challenging because I love her and I want to smother her and but yeah, I want her to have her freedom of choice and her freedom of desire and creativity, and so I want to co-create with her rather than like, if you look at another person, I'm going to leave you, and I don't want that energy. That's such a negative context about that.
I appreciate when guys look at Janet. I mean, I can't imagine anybody wouldn't want to be with Janet. I like all that kind of stuff is. I think what I was hearing with what you were just telling me is that there's judgment in a partnership when people watch each other. There's judgment that happens.
It's just, I know that I have to be aware of if she's receiving a text message and I'm like, is that somebody that, do I feel threatened? That's my fear. That's my ego getting in the way. And I don't want to hold that energy.
Okay. So what you'd have to do is, as far as this is concerned, is back up, find your power, understand that whatever's going to happen is going to happen and you're going to be okay with it. And then I want my partner to have experiences and come back to me. That doesn't mean that she would be with somebody else. I want her to, maybe somebody presents themselves and she makes a decision of, no, I'm in a monogamous relationship. There's power in that rather than controlling her so she doesn't have any of that. I would rather somebody really want to be with me than somebody who feels like they have to, or is treading, or is not experiencing their life and not making their own decisions. I want them to do that so that they're here with me because That's what they want to be.
No, that's beautiful. That's that energy of desiring to be in relationship rather than feeling obliged to be in relationship. Like, oh, I got to take her. Oh. It's better to have that energy of like, wow, I really enjoy that co-creativeness.
Mm-hmm. Most people don't get to make a decision, a firm decision about this is the person that I really want to be with, up until the point that they almost lose them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they almost lose them, they go, oh, wait a minute. But that decision, as far as these steps are concerned, that decision should be made a long time before any of that ever happens. Yeah. You know, I really want to be with this person. It does not help me to judge my partner. So I'm not going to do that because I'm in it for me. Yeah. Everything comes back to me. I'm not going to risk judging her. I'm going to help her. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure that she learns whatever she needs to learn, because I don't want to risk losing. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do that.
No, that's good.
You know?
Yeah, you find somebody that you can co-create with, you can get along with, and it is important to be in a space where you can enjoy that person. And that's the work. You know, we were married very young, a fear-based construct of like, well, if you're gonna have sex, then you have to be married, and you have, you know, oh, okay. And then so we started our relationship very young. I was 17 years old when I met her. We got married when I was 19, and we've enjoyed our relationship, but we've realized, oh, did we create our relationship based on a construct of fear? Or did we create a relationship based on a construct of choice? And while we chose each other, we were still like, oh, well, we have to get married. Well, now in our years, we've been married for 29 years, and we're now realizing we're co-creating out of choice, out of our enjoyment, and rather than an obligation or a fear. So Ray, you've done a lot of counseling, a lot of relationship. You're also a universal channel. You're getting a lot of information. Give presence to some of the ideas, some of the information that you've been given. You're more than just a relationship guy. You're so big and broad, and I know you have an aspiration to do some TED Talks and give some information. Give presence to our viewers and listeners to the work that you're doing.
Well, actually, it's funny because as I'm doing the relationship work, I didn't realize how big it was. I didn't realize until I just noticed that every single person that walks into my office has no idea about how to communicate. None. Everybody thinks it's the exact same thing. Everyone says, well, I tell her what I want, she tells me what she wants. Nobody's listening and all this stuff. So there's a whole thing that is very different for me. And I'm finding that with the 5 easy steps, I'm going to be able to go out and present this on a much larger scale because everybody needs it. Now, I started to recognize that this kind of information is similar to all the other types of information that I have, which is, I have a friend that calls me a myth defier. You know, this is new information that looks like humanity's ready for it. It's another step to put this information out there so people can eventually get it. It takes forever to get it, you know, but like I've always felt odd because some of the information that I have are things like I have a Big Bang Theory, for instance. And the Big Bang Theory is nothing like anything that's out there, completely different. It's handed to me. It's nothing that I came up with, so this is universally channeled. And basically, it's on the premise of a continuous Big Bang creating a portion of a moment, okay? So here I am, a relationship counselor, thinking I want to do a TED Talk about a Big Bang kind of thing, too much distance, and having to be two different people to do that. Information about creation of spirits, how spirit actually is infused by a mother's intention for a child that's being born in it.
Wow.
Okay? This is a very different thing. Excuse me. It's complicated and it's sort of easy to understand. Again, where do I come up with this? It just, you know, as a matter of fact, I was getting ready to write a section for a book. different book that I'm working on. And I spent all night working on this idea, getting it all together, and I'm fine. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know exactly how it's going to go. I got beginning, middle, end, everything ready. I wake up in the morning and I start to talk, and it is nothing like I planned.
Oh, wow.
not even slightly like I planned. So it was the whole thing that came to me was creation of a spirit and how and what women's place is, and the DNA that a man shares, having to be able to infuse the energy around a child that eventually becomes the child's spirit or their energy. And so, but those kinds of things are like, they're out there. And the 5 steps, I thought, something, that's for everybody. That is much bigger than what happens in my office.
Yeah.
And I really do need to be, like taking advantage of this situation is a great thing for me. I'm
Take advantage of me, Ray.
Boy, this is fun. You betcha. But it's interesting how when I finally started to clear it up, all this stuff started turning up, and so thank you.
Yeah. No, it's good. So you also work with energy. I know that you've kind of formed a modality called ribboning.
Oh, right.
How do you use energy in your work? I saw your space. I got to feel some Reiki energy that you did when we were there creating your feature video. How do you incorporate energy work with all of the things that you're working on?
It's always, the energy work is always, it becomes evident to me that I need to present it to somebody. It becomes evident to me that somebody's locked up and they would need hypnosis. And so if I do everything that I can prior to helping them make a breakthrough and they can't do it, then I'll use hypnosis. If there's something stuck inside a person, I will offer energy work. Now, I started doing healing work. It wasn't Reiki, but about 19 or 20 years old, they called me the Block Doc in San Diego. Oh. And so people would come to me, and I attributed it to being high. Okay, I thought, I'm high and I'm doing this kind of thing because I was always high. but people would come to me for shoulder problems, for stomachs. Women would bring babies and for colicky babies and things, and I would do energy work with them. And so over the years, I tried, Janet's a Reiki master, and I tried to study the Reiki and all that stuff, and I got information that's not for me. It was too confining, too restricted, and I had to just be free to do what it is that comes to me naturally. So I was working on somebody, and all of a sudden, and this was one of the stronger things that's ever happened to me, I was pulled away, my hands were pulled off, and I ended up at the foot of my massage table. I put my hands on their ankles, and I said, what I'd like for you to do is imagine a half-inch red ribbon from underneath your foot, underneath your left foot, and that red ribbon is going to come up to the middle part of your thigh. And tell me when you do it. Tell me when you see it. And they didn't know that I hadn't done this before.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
They had no idea. This was just, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
You're just creating this thing.
So I said, okay. So, and I'm watching, and then so the red line went up. And when they said, okay, I got it. And I said, now cross over to your right hip. Bring the red ribbon to your right hip. And they did that. So tell me when you're ready. And then from the right hip to the left shoulder across the neck to the right ear, over the top of the head, and then reverse the pattern. So, and I'm doing this, and I'm looking at it going, what next? I don't know. The next ribbon that appears is about a 3-inch ribbon, and it's green. I said, now imagine this green ribbon. It's about 3 inches, and it goes over the red ribbon. You're going to use the red ribbon as a guide. And as you're doing this, it starts from the bottom of your foot as you reach the middle part of your thigh. At that point, what I want you to do is release all the energy from your foot to your thigh and tell me when you're done.
Oh.
And so they did that. And then I did the pattern all the way through, the 3 inches all the way through, release the energy. At some point, I said, release all energy, positive and negative energy. And I didn't know why that was, but I found out later on after doing this that positive energy holds space for negative energy.
Oh.
Okay? You can't think about positive energy without accepting that there's negative energy.
Okay.
And the truth is, there's only energy.
Okay.
We're the ones that label it positive. We're the ones that label it negative. And if you get to a point where you understand that we are connected to everything that's out there.
Yeah.
Everything that's out there. And when you feed it all the way back down to its finite matter, we're all pure energy.
Mm-hmm.
We're not positive, we're not negative energy, we're just simply energy.
Yeah.
And so releasing all that stuff takes stories, takes pain, takes all that stuff, and just releases it because it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And then the last part of it was about a 12 or 13 inch either silver or gold ribbon that would lay across you. You can get rid of whatever energy is left, and that crossing over is like a comfort kind of thing. It's like a blanketing. The purpose about doing this is that I have never felt comfortable in saying that I was a healer. I've never felt comfortable about that. I've always known that it was the people that I was holding space, and it was the people that were doing it. And what ribboning is about is handing it and the responsibility over to the person there so that they heal themselves. Yeah. They tell you when they've completed a step. And they're the ones that get credit for healing. You know, yeah. Part of what we run into with being healers and being Reiki, if somebody sits on a Reiki table, and at the end of it, they thank everybody for giving them Reiki. Yeah. Okay, and so they need to understand, and as all being connected, as us all being universally connected, you know, it's like, hey, thanks a lot. And what you did is you gave me a space right now to heal myself. Yeah. Okay?
I like that. It's almost like kind of deconstructing that ego of, hey, everybody, look what I just did. I'm pretty amazing. I healed Ray over here. Yeah. But now I'm empowering if you're like, look, I held space for Ray and he was able to do his work. Yeah. That's such a great energy.
And it's really a bigger kind of thing, you know, when you think about it, is to be able to help somebody get their power, to be able to sit in my office and help two people look at each other and go, I never thought of it that way. Wow, beautiful. That's cool, you know, and see that happening. It's fantastic for me because it's the greatest job in the world. Yeah. It really is. I sit there and I look at people and I go, oh, God, I'm not that messed up. That's funny. I do say that sometimes.
Oh, it's good.
You know, but it's like getting an opportunity to help people see things in a different way.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You know.
Yeah. Awesome. Give presence to your website for the listeners.
Inner Power Insights.
And people can go there. They can find out information.
Absolutely.
Figure out how to get a hold of you.
I'm here at 19th Avenue in Camelback. You can reach me there. I also do sessions online, so
cool.
Which is really cool.
Yep. So if they're in a different state, in a different place, they can still call you up, use your services.
Yeah, I get people here too that don't, they don't want to be seen, coming into an office or something like that.
Oh, really?
So people will call up and I'll do sessions and.
Wow, what kind of ego construct is that they think they'll be judged just by walking into a counseling session?
Well, sometimes, it's funny, but I get a lot of people, I get a lot of like highly professional people come in that are, like doctors and surgeons and lawyers and all this kind of stuff. And some of them, I don't know if they think they're being followed or I don't know what the hell they think. Maybe they don't want to be seen with me.
Yeah. Well, who would, right?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, really.
Come on. Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Ray, thanks for giving presence to your work. As we end the episode, I like to ask the guest to kind of give presence to, if you didn't hear anything that I had to say, this is the one thing I want to make sure I get across to you. So if you will, give us presence. What is that one thing you want to make sure people know?
The one thing that I think the thing that's coming to me right now is recognizing that everything that you've been taught by people who don't know what they're doing. Okay? And so it's time, if you're going to evolve, if you're going to awaken, you have to recognize and rethink everything. Ask questions and find your truth. Find what works for you.
Beautiful. Awesome.
I just made that up.
And that's all we are doing is just making things up. That's all this is. It's a beautiful cosmic game. It's play. It's co-creation. Thank you for co-creating an episode with me. Thank you for being a part of my journey.
Yeah, no, my
so
pleasure.
Good.
Really do appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Ray, thank you.
I'm David Marsh, and you've been watching Exploring the Human Journey on YouTube as a video and listening as a podcast. If you would like to help continue the conversation, please consider supporting us by visiting patreon.com, where you can support us on a monthly basis and get extra bonus content. For as little as $1 a month, you can make this show sustainable and help continue spiritual consciousness. You can also help by following us on Facebook and Instagram. For more information about the show, find us online at exploringthehumanjourney.com.